All right, welcome everybody. This is take 2 for me behind the scenes. I thought I was live, but I didn't hit go live. So we should be good to go. Welcome John, welcome Jamal. First two in the chat. Hope you're all doing well. Happy New Year. All that kind of stuff. Although as Larry David might say, it's after the first 3 days, it's too late to wish anyone Happy New Year, but I don't know about that. So yeah, I just thought I'd let you know a little bit about what's coming up. I had a bit of a break, which has been good from shooting all the guitar videos. So, well, I did the Epiphone videos, then I had a bit of a break, so I'm feeling pretty refreshed. And I've got a few more queued up for the next week and a half. So after that, I'll start filming again. So welcome everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope this year's a bit better already than last year. And if you live overseas in the US, it might be already pretty crazy over there from what I saw on the news. But we'll save that for another occasion. So welcome everybody. If there's any issues with the audio or video, whatever, please let us know. And I'll be on for about an hour tonight. It's 10:45 or 10:49 p.m. here now. Running a little bit late, so yeah, we'll take some questions. I'll timestamp this back if we get a lot of cool questions, all that kind of stuff. Let us know where you're from if you're first time in the live stream. Jimmy, welcome. We got is it Mateo? Welcome. We got Stan, Pork Chop, welcome mate. Donald, B23, Merry New Year, Merry New Year, Shane. Thanks for all the content in 2020. Hey, no worries. Thanks for all the support, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for watching what I do, and yeah, I love what I do. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of the community here. All right. Yeah, Jamal says extremely crazy here. Hey, I hope your move went well too, mate. Hope everything's well with your move. But yeah, I saw a bit about the what's going on over there at the moment. It's crazy, man. Just when you don't expect things to get crazier, and, it just does. I'm waiting to see what happens here next. Hoping this year is better than last year is setting the bar really low. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's one of those things, yeah, it'd be great if it was like 2 years ago. It's funny, I actually found some like cards, birthday cards and Christmas cards and stuff from the year prior to 2020. And it was like full of hope and optimism and yeah, and then nothing. Just horrible. All right, Stan Lee, welcome, mate. We've got Todd. How you doing, mate? Cam quality is great, thank you. We've got, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Is it Laquis Roland or something? Is that how you pronounce it? There's probably an easy way to pronounce that, and I just can't work that out. We've got Timo from the Netherlands. Welcome, mate. All the best, Shane. Audio is great. Video's looking crisp in Sydney. Oh, there you go. It's because it's so close. Thanks, mate. All right, looks like we are all good. Hey, Shane, during your live gigs, do you ever amp stack, say, a Marshall with a Fender? I've tried using 2 amps once, or twice, actually, a few times. The main one that I used a couple of times was a Fender Blues Deluxe and a Hot Rod Deluxe, but it always created like earth loop issues. Actually, I also used the PV Bandit 112 and a Hot Rod Deluxe on one stage, and that was kind of cool. I used the DI box to split the signal, but it just makes things heavier, and it's cool, but it was unnecessary for the places I was playing at. It just created more problems, so I think I've probably done it 4 times max, and that was enough. And I also used to get electric shocks a lot more on the microphones because of the earth loop issues, so kind of gave that up after a bit. Nothing wrong with doing that, though. I'd love to run a Fender clean and then the Marshall drive channel and just switch between them. That would be a much simpler solution. We've got Keith from Oregon. Welcome, mate. Do I still have my first guitar? I do. It's a little nylon string acoustic. It's one of those, is it 3/4 size ones? I've still got it. Actually, probably the one that's like I've actually still got my mum's guitar, which got to be close to 50 years old now. It's a made in Japan Suzuki nylon string. It's pretty beautiful, actually. You've probably seen it on old videos in the background. I might bring it in one time. The strings on there are probably 10 years old. You know, I don't play a lot of that sort of guitar, but beautiful guitar. It sounds great. It's serial number, I think 699 or 700 or something like that. It's a really low serial number. What am I drinking tonight? I'm on the vanilla no sugar Coke. I've got the Pepsi Max. Just to mix things up. You know, I don't often have Pepsi Max, so I figure why not? Yeah, the vanilla Coke is it creamy soda? Did they trick us and just rebrand creamy soda? I'm so confused by that one. Carlos from Barcelona, welcome, mate. Have I ever tried the new Epiphone SG? I have gas for the white lefty version. There's something special about that white guitar for some reason, or with that guitar. 100%. It's great. The video is the next Epiphone video you see will be the Epiphone SG standard in the lefty and in the white as well. So it's exactly what you're asking for. And that'll be up, I think, tomorrow around this time. Somewhere around there. It's great. It's by far the most fun I've had on an SG in a while. I got to tell you, I actually really enjoyed it. I'm not the biggest SG fan personally. I always find like they just don't fit well for me for whatever reason. I love the sound of them. I like the visual of them. Okay, but yeah, I've never really felt like I wanted to ever buy one again. But the Epi is pretty great. It's all personal choice stuff, right? It's just for me personally. I've never really bonded with an SG like I have with other instruments, but. Yeah, it's pretty good. So it's coming up. Any experience with is it Bose S1 Pro PA? Oh, Bose, no. I haven't tried that, mate. Some of that stuff is pretty good. The Bose, like all in, if it's one of those sort of like pylon things with a sub, they can sound okay. Like, as long as you're not putting them under too much demand, they should be fine. Like, if you want it for your daughter, you were saying, then it should be okay, right? But they're never going to compete with, like, a set of Mackies cranked or, you know, any number of different PA speakers. Yeah, Bose are good, but they're a different sort of thing. I've heard videos, or I've seen videos pop up. I haven't watched any of them about that unit, but I've seen other all-in-one solutions come up at gigs and jam nights and stuff in the past, and they sound okay. I just don't know how well they'll fill a room if the room's like really loud. So, but for what you need it for, it might be fine. Patrick says, I miss live music. I was already sinking before this nonsense. I really wish the mainstream labels would support talent. Yeah, well, you know, it's the same old story there. I think the labels are about as almost like that. I just don't care, right? Is what it is. If they're not making money, they don't care about helping people. Nah, not at all. So it sucks. But you know, it's always live. I miss. Well, we've started sort of playing live again now, but yeah, it's not the same. It hasn't felt the same going back to play live. I don't know if it's my own frame of mind. I'm just kind of waiting for it to not have to close down again. I'm not confident in it. Maybe it might be a good time and a good chance to kind of come up with something else that you can do in the meantime, whether that's recording or, you know, revamp a website or something like that, or work on something different. I'm not too sure, but yeah. The labels aren't going to support, well, at least to my knowledge, independent musicians. There's nothing in it for them. Malmsteen from Melbourne, welcome, mate. If I say your last name instead of your first name, sometimes it's because I can't pronounce your first name. Are you running the Vibler before your drives now? I am. yeah, it sort of stops it from being as noisy. What I found was running the boost and the drive into it would raise the noise floor of the pedal. So I run it now before. I always say to people, like, experiment around with the signal chain. Nothing's ever definitive with that. You can run a clean boost after an overdrive if you want that same dirty tone with more volume. So you can run it in different ways for different results. And yeah, I just put it right at the start or right after my tuner. So it goes like wah, because the wah's on the floor. It goes tuner, vibler, boost, or first overdrive, second overdrive, delay. Done. Blues Guitar and Harmonica says, Gibson buying Mesa. What a turd in the punch bowl. Man, that's the worst thing Boogie... Maybe Boogie aren't making much money. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, I don't know anyone who buys Boogie stuff anymore. In Australia, it's so expensive. Like, it's so much more expensive than all the other brands. I don't know if it's like that in the US or what, but maybe they've suffered a lot and they were in a position where they were wanting to get rid of the business, because having Gibson own an amplifier company is a disaster. Like, look at their history. Anytime they expand into other areas, the quality of their guitars go down. So we'll wait and see what happens. I mean, I actually think Gibson have been making great stuff the last 18 months, or 2 years or whatever it's been. But I can't see that being a good thing for the brand of Boogie. I really can't. I mean, I don't really buy their amps anyway, but one of my favorite amps I've ever played is their California Tweed. That's really great. There's a lot of good Boogie amps, actually, but that's probably one of my favorite amps of all time. And, yeah, it's... I saw Tone King's, title of his video. I haven't seen it yet because I've been working on other stuff today, but I was like, oh, man, are you kidding me? Really? So, yeah, let us know in the comments if you think that's a good move or not. I don't think that's a good match for their business. They're not an amplifier, like, they're not a great amplifier manufacturer. I don't know if anything will change on the Boogie side of it. Maybe they'll have all the same staff, but who knows? I haven't looked into it, but looking at it with a lack of knowledge just from the outside, I don't like the sound of that whatsoever. Have I ever chance to play an Epiphone Flying V? Never. There's a few in the shop at the moment that I could borrow, but they're right-handed, so I need a righty to help. Have you changed the speaker in your DSL 40CR? Oh, sorry, the chat just moved. I found a late 70s Celestion G12H 30 black. Going to fit that in, I reckon. Inexperience with the older Celestions. Not like the made in the UK ones. No, I haven't tried them in there. But the ones that I have tried have sounded good. They're all very different in that amp. You get drastically different results. The amplifier is quite bright inherently. So I opt for a speaker that takes a bit of that out. And that's why I've got the Texas Heat in mind. I've tried the Tonka, which was good, but it added this upper mids boost thing, which it didn't really need. And not enough low end in the end. So I ended up swapping that out. I've tried a number of different speakers in that amplifier now. The stock Celestion's actually pretty good, but it's bright. So you've got to turn the treble most of the way down. Check out guitarspeakerguide.com. It's my website. It'll go into detail about which speaker to choose and why. I went to Sky Music to check out the white Charvel, but it wasn't for me. I'd love to see you try it in reaction, trying something different to the usual guitars. You know, I saw that in there. I was thinking to myself, do I give it a go or do I get trolled for playing my clunky blue stuff over a guitar that's made to rock? So yeah, we'll see how we we'll see how we go with that. I'm actually pretty keen to give it a shot. I've never played one. What's my take on Supro Amps? That's from 089. Heavy. They're great, but they're expensive and they're very heavy. They're too heavy. That's a deal breaker. They're like Fender Twin weight, and there's some of them are smaller than Fender Twin. So the Supro Royal Reverb, again, one of my favorite amps I've ever plugged into. It's fantastic. And the Rhythm Master. Either one of those two I could play all day as long as someone carries it around for me. It is brutal. It's so heavy. So heavy. But yeah, they're pretty pricey. That's not that, I don't know. I can't justify spending sort of $3,000 on an amp anymore. Just doesn't make sense. Prices obviously will vary depending on where you are, but the Rhythm Master and the Supro Royal Reverb, definitely two of the best amps I've played. I would almost put both of them in my... I'd have to have a long, hard think about the 10 best amps I've ever played, but I'm pretty sure the Royal Reverb would land a spot in there, and the Rhythm Master would probably just get bumped out, but it'd be close. Fat says, Mesa definitely won't have a price drop. Yeah. I don't know what the deal is with that, man. I don't think anyone saw that coming. We'll see what happens with that. Let us know if you actually own one of their amplifiers in the comment section. I only really know one of my friends that has. He's got two of them, and they sound pretty great. But he bought them used, and again, you buy them used, you save like 70% sometimes. Do I know the Vox MV50? I think I've tried that. Or did I try the 150? Hang on, let me have a look. Let me have a look what it looks like. Oh, these little guys. Yeah, okay. I have tried... No. I've heard them. I haven't actually used them before. Little, The problem I have with those amps, right, the amp heads, they actually sound pretty good. A guy at the jam night that I go to, he uses one. And it's loud enough and it handles pedals pretty well, but you've kind of got to watch the head. Because they're so small and light, the cable can pull them off really easily. So maybe Velcro them in place or something like that. Gig Boogie. Gig Boogie. That's it. I think Mesa Boogie owner is old and wants to sell a business. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Well, it is what it is. He might be getting a massive check and he'll be retired and he'll be done. So, hi Shane, what are your thoughts on cheaper reverb pedals compared to the really pricey ones? Are the differences as profound as, say, overdrive pedals? Alright, so I actually think in terms of overdrive, there's less of a difference between expensive ones and less expensive ones. So, a clone of an expensive pedal will still sound pretty good normally, but you're paying for the build quality a lot of the time. With reverb pedals, there's a couple that are okay, that are inexpensive, but the better ones are usually more expensive. The ones that just pop to my mind right now, the Keeley have one called the Triverb, I think it's called. It's got 3 different reverbs. The Boss Fender FRV1 is a really great one as well. It's hard to find and the price got jacked up, and that's really good. And T-Rex also made one as well that had it's like a valve-based one. Sounded pretty great. Look, there might be some great inexpensive ones. I'm just trying to think. The only one that I can... What's one that I can think of off the top of my head? I'll have to have a think about that, mate. I'm struggling to really recall which reverb pedals I just went, wow. I think Kalen had one that was pretty great, but it was a really wet signal. So you had to sort of back off the mix almost off to get more of a traditional amp sound. But yeah, I would say there's less difference between tonality between cheap and expensive pedals when it comes to drives, maybe more so when it comes to reverbs. And what you'll also find is a lot of the less expensive ones can, not always, right? It depends on the brand, but some of them will have more inherent noise, or they'll drop your volume a little bit too. I would try and find one that's really simple, 3 or 4 controls, and maybe a toggle switch between like room and spring, or hall, or something like that, and that's about it. We've got Lincoln from Florida. Welcome, mate. I'll keep an eye on sensitivity. I tamed a loud amp by fitting a less sensitive speaker. That's exactly right. That will absolutely work. Speakers will contribute to the biggest change of tone you can make to an amp. Pros and cons of steel frets. I just think if you're talking about stainless steel ones, they don't wear out and they don't change your sound. People go, oh, they sound too bright. Could it be that you've got new strings and clean frets? Maybe that's done something to your tone, but I love the fact that stainless steel frets feel great. If any of my guitars ever need a fret job, put them in, you'll have it forever. If you plan on keeping the guitar long term, get it done. It's the best mod you can make out of necessity. Wait till the frets are done and then get them replaced, and it's awesome. So I can't recommend that enough. Hey, we got Hippie Gamer Chick here. Go check out her channel, folks. We did a collab video together. It's just gone live. Right as I was going live, it popped up, so I'm dying to check it out. Fender has done a great job with Jackson, Squire, and Charvel. Yeah. And Gretsch, and all the other brands they got under their wing. I can't remember how many there are off the top of my head, but yeah, they've got a lot. Have I tried the new Epiphone Prophecy series? I'm particularly interested in a tiger yellow one. I haven't, mate. Let me have a quick look at what those are. Epiphone Prophecy. It sounds like it's more of a metal kind of guitar. It is. Oh no, they got Les Pauls and stuff. You know, I haven't. I don't even know if I've seen these in the shop. If there's a chance I can get my hands on them, I will. It seems like there's quite a big audience for the Epiphone stuff, so it's probably been a long time since I've done any too. Let me scroll down. If I add this channel to my featured channels list, yeah, you can. Add whoever you like in there, mate. I appreciate that. Let me check out your stuff. But yeah, feel free. I add people without asking them into that list. So yeah, go for it. It helps. I think it helps the algorithm kind of determine what your channel's about and all that kind of thing. That's what I've worked out about it. It can sometimes hurt your channel from some of the experiences I've had and after speaking to other people too. But if it's directly related, you shouldn't have any issues. Or if you're new, it's a good thing to do, absolutely. Owned a Mark III. Yeah, very cool. My friend's got a Studio 22, I think it's called. What a great amp. It's so good. Nice video quality, thank you. Cheers. Should be streaming at 50 frames per second. Oh, YouTube will upscale it to 60, but yeah, should hopefully look good. Got my setup dialed in, finally. Walk in and hit go live. Game on. There we go. Yeah, go check out her channel, folks. See if we can get her to 1,000 subs. That'd be awesome. Not that we'll have 1,000 people in here tonight, but share it around. We've been friends for probably a long time now. Getting old. Any recommendations on pedal kits? I'm thinking of building a couple of pedals to get into pedal electronics. Yeah, if you type in... There's a guy I actually bought a lot of stuff through in Australia. His name is Paul. And I'm just going to see if I can find his website. Is it pedalpartsaustralia.com? No, that's not it. It's another one. Yeah, my suggestion is start with a clean boost. Start dirt simple and buy 3 of them because you'll break the first 2. It's really tough to work with your head down like this. So get a stand or something you can work on and sit properly. There's nothing worse than having your head bent over on a desk like that trying to solder stuff. And don't do it when you're tired either, because you'll make sloppy mistakes. It's way harder than I think people realize. It's fun. Like, I've built 3 circuits from kits, and yeah, it was a huge learning curve. If you've got some sort of electronics experience, it'll make sense to you. I went in blind, so I literally just binged, absorbed a lot of information on how to make stuff and learning how to get the output jacks connected and all that kind of thing as well. So it was tough, but when I got the first one working, I was like, yes! And then I was like, oh, it sounds great. And I've still got it. It's in my cupboard. So yeah, just find a really simple kit. Don't do anything too big too soon with it. Just buy a kit that's got all the parts and some sort of PDF file that you can follow along and start as basic as you can. I can't remember the hang on, let me have a look. Oh, it's DIYguitarpedals.com.au. There you go. This is where I got a lot of my stuff from. He's a great guy. He's got a YouTube channel as well. So yeah, I actually, when his Windows server crashed, I helped him restore it, which hosted his websites and everything. So yeah, he's a cool guy. He helped me to no end with my pedals, and when he couldn't fix his website, I was on it. Recently picked up a Fender Pro Junior Tweed. Very cool. After watching a review, trying different amps. Amazing, bright, clean tone with the Jensen. Fender amps are amazing value in Strat. Yeah, that's a great amp, mate. Well done. Congrats. It might have been the one that I tried in the video, possibly. I mean, they would have had a few, but yeah, very cool amplifier. There's something cool about that simplicity of plugging in and turning them up and getting a great sound. It's super cool. Let me scroll down here. How I changed cameras. Quality is elite. So this isn't a webcam. It's my camera I shoot my content with. And yes, about a month or so ago, I changed cameras. I don't use it in this room all the time. I got a second setup now, so some of my camera stuff gets. It's supposed to stay in there, but it never does, because I always end up needing a couple of cameras for this room. But this is my GH5S. This is running at a higher frame rate, which is, I think, why it looks better. And thank you. We got Ivan from the Ukraine. Welcome, mate. Hey, stop no names. How you doing? BP Dara, is it? My man Shane responded to 2 of my posts. All the best, mate. You others are losers. Thanks, mate. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but yeah, cheers. I try to respond to the comments. I get over it. There must be 1,000 a week that go up on the channel, or hundreds of them at least. So I try to follow the latest videos for a while, and then I just have to let them disappear. Occasionally, when I log into the back end of YouTube, it brings up the most recent 5 on any video, and that's when sometimes people get lucky. I'll reply to an old video, but I have to turn the notifications off. It'd be at 99 like in 24 hours sometimes. So Guitar Fetish and Stu Mac seem to have the best rated kits for guitars. Yeah, well, there you go. There's more. I mean, look, there's plenty of great ones out there. But that was just the only one I've had experience with. I actually bought some from the US when our dollar was really strong. So this is telling you how long ago it was. And yeah, and they were the ones based on the Maxon Overdrive Pro. And yeah, Paul from DIY Guitar Pedals. We were like he was remotely trying to help me get it to work, and I sent it to him. In the end, he goes, "Send it to me. I'll fix it and I'll send it back." I said, "Mate, all right, I'll fix you up," or whatever the case was. And he got it. He goes, "Mate, it's done right. I think the board's broken." I'm like, "Oh!" So there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong with it. It's just a brutal process. If you turn one part the wrong way around, it doesn't work. It's that kind of thing. So I would suggest learning as much as you can about, all the resistors and all that kind of stuff, and what the rings mean. And yeah, it's definitely, it's a lot of work, but a good hobby to get into. Have I ever restored any guitars? I want to restore my first ever acoustic. I know you're an electric head. No, is the quick answer. I've changed parts on guitars, but never done like a full restoration on anything. I would probably opt to get an acoustic guitar done somewhere, like take it to a shop that has a good tech guy, only because it's sort of like they're a bit more fiddly to get right, in my opinion. Yeah, but it depends what's wrong with it though. depends what's wrong with it. It looked pretty good in the photo, so yeah, I'll have to check it out. If it's just a setup, like it needs a neck adjusted slightly or the tuners or whatever, that's easy. I can do that easily. Let me. Oh, the chat just moved. I'm way out from the end here. Let me fly through these. Linda says, "Yo, Shane, quick question: Artist Strat or SX Strat? If I had to choose." You know, I haven't tried the Artist one before. I'm going to assume that'll be very similar to the entry-level Harley Benton. And from what I understand of that, I think the SX Strat is a better guitar. I think they're both going to be okay, but the SX are pretty good. They're like a classic vibe in terms of their feel. They got a nice neck, and they feel a bit more refined as an instrument. So, whereas I think a lot of the Artist stuff is great, I think the entry-level Strat will probably feel a little unfinished compared to the SX. That's just from what I've seen on the photos. Oh, Todd, thanks, man. Far out. Here's a tech question on your video setup. Do you shoot in NTSC or PAL? So I shoot in PAL. So either 25 or 50 frames per second. When I live stream in 25 or 50p frame rates, YouTube will upscale it to 30 or 60. It's the only time that it does it is when you're live streaming. But all of my videos, the reason why you shoot in the native frame rates of your country is if I shot in 30 frames per second, that light back here would be flashing all kind of weird. This light would be flickering. It would be more unwatchable than just having me in the video. So it would be, the lighting is the reason why. It's the sort of like refresh or cycle rate of the electricity and the light bulbs. And alternatively, I did this when I went to Jerry's the second time actually. I used my own camera set only to PAL, and all the US lights made the camera like there was this strobing effect going through the image. So I bought a camera that can do both. It can do any frame rate of any NTSC or PAL, and then you can switch it up, or Cinema 4K too. So my suggestion is to record in the native flicker refresh rate of the country. So if you're in PAL region, PAL, anyone in the NTSC region, NTSC 100%. It's only to stop that light flicker. You can get around it with changing your shutter speed or angle of the shutter, but you don't want to do that. It's just far easier not to worry about it. There is one exception to that. Some DC powered lights won't have that problem no matter what, unless you really bump up the frame rate higher than 50 or 60 frames per second. And then you can see some of that strobing. LEDs are guilty of that sometimes. But hey, thanks for the super chat, mate. Hopefully that answered your question. If it didn't and you have more, let me know and I'll keep an eye on the chat here. Hippie Gamer Chick said, Shane, did I buy a new shirt? So I get ridiculed about my t-shirts from all my friends. See, this one's different. This one doesn't have a V-neck. I bought two more of the same t-shirts the other week. I don't know if it's just me, but I find t-shirts I like and I stick with them. I'm like, I might as well buy 3 more of these. They're 10, 12 bucks each while I can get them. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to find them at some point. So yeah, I stocked up. I love this color. I don't know why. This one looks like trash as well. This is an old one, by the way. Thanks for that. Let me scroll back up here. See if I missed anything. Let me scroll down. Got Jim from South Africa. Welcome, mate. Am I enjoying Smitty's century today? I no. Is that cricket? I don't watch cricket. No offense. I any game that goes for 5 days is too long. I've got Dennis from West Texas. Welcome, man. Very cool. West Texas. So, ooh. Is that like, man, That's interesting. Trying to work out where I know in West Texas. I think Austin's about as west as I know, but I don't know if that is technically West Texas. 50 hertz for the win, absolutely. I'm in PAL 25 FPS region, but because 95% of my viewers are in the US, I shoot in 30 for their viewing benefit. It won't make any difference. Like, all the monitors are the same, right? So they can play back 25 frames per second and it's going to look fine. Look, if you're shooting only outdoors, then use the higher frame rates. That's what I would do. If I had an outdoor channel where I was just vlogging outside and I wasn't near LED or studio lamps, I would shoot 30 or 60 frames per second, no problems. So, yeah, depends on what you're doing with it. But if you do any sort of slow motion at those frame rates, you're about to see the strobe. It's funny. People asking questions about the t-shirt. Cotton on, man. How do I control the buzzing sound without a noise reduction pedal? Any advice? Depends on your guitar, man. Like, more than anything, in your setup at home. Like, if I have certain lamps on, the amp will buzz more. Or lights, LED lights or whatever. So I've kind of got to watch what I've got on at any particular time. When I talk on the videos, I've learnt to turn my guitar down before I talk. And that's it. And then I cut down, I manually cut each video where I'm playing. I cut the voice mic out and vice versa. So, not vice versa all the time. If I'm turned down, it's fine. But, yeah, I go through and I physically chop the videos like that. So, will also depend on your power supply. It could be a number of different things, but mostly probably your guitar and how much gain you've got. Craig from Sydney, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Fat says it's -3 in Japan. Just looking at Shane in a t-shirt, it's making me cold. The weather here has been pretty crap up until today, and yesterday wasn't too bad, but yeah, it warmed up pretty quick today. I went to the gym this morning, and I went early, and by 10:30 I think I left, and it was already pretty warm here. So El Paso. You know, I was going to say El Paso. Thanks, Sonia. Odessa, Midland, 20 miles apart, halfway between Dallas and El Paso. I had a good friend who moved to El Paso from San Francisco. He grew up in El Paso. He's a super cool guy. I can't wait to travel at some point again, man. Miss it. Still got that trip on the credit, hopefully. So we'll see how we go. Santosh, welcome, mate. We got, is it Enes? Is that how you say your name? I'm not too sure. Hi, buddy. Great work on YouTube. Thanks for all your effort. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Thanks for the support. And yeah, if you missed the start of the stream, I want to thank everybody for all the viewership over the last however long you've been subscribed, or, you know, if you're not subscribed, if you just view the videos. Yeah, I appreciate it. December and November, I went pretty crazy and I completely burned myself out. So I've just coming back into starting to feel a little bit more fresh, finally. Spain has very cold weather now, and I use the valve amp as a heater. Very cool. It's an expensive heater to run, mate. It's supposed to be summer, yeah, as of December, but it's been like the crappiest summer so far, which means we're probably going to get a ridiculously hot February. That can happen, or late Jan, so we'll see how we go. On the buzzing issue, do you use any power conditioners? No, I don't. Just try to keep the setup as uncomplicated as possible. Sometimes where you plug your amplifier and pedal board power supply in can drastically change things. Don't ever have cables tangled around other cables. That can create a whole lot of noise. Some are shielded better than others. Some power supplies, you instantly turn them on and they're unusable. So that's what they mean when they say, is the power supply noisy? If it isn't, you shouldn't get any additional or buzz through your signal. Cameron says, first of all, love the channel. Second, I was wondering if you gave guitar lessons because I saw you perform in the past at the Mount Dandenong Hotel, which is relatively close. I don't, mate. I don't do lessons. I do. Sometimes if a close friend's needing help with something, I'll sit down and I'll show them some stuff. But I don't really. I'm not great at explaining stuff when it comes to guitar. In terms of, I'm not really like a technical thinker. I'm more of a concepts guy. And being that my approach was to learn a lot of licks and then turn those licks into something that I can recall and modify on the fly, it's a hard thing to explain to people or show people how to do that. So I don't think I'm a great guy for that. But one guy I always recommend locally is Ross Helmott. He's a good friend of mine, known him 20 years, one of my favourite players in Melbourne. Still, all these years later, he's still one of the best. And I'll put his name down in the chat here. Yeah, Google him, because you'd get far more out of him than sitting down with me having a lesson. What do I press? So right before the lockdown, I don't ego lift, but I got up to 105 kilograms, which is 211, 12, 13 pounds or something like that. It's somewhere around there. No, it's more than that. It's like 224 or something like that. But I'm not anywhere near there now. Today I did 90, and that's enough. I only weigh 73 kilos, so 90 is far more than I weigh, and that's enough. I did 6, just got 6, or 5 was the last set. But yeah, I'm just taking my time with it. I'm not in a rush to do anything. It may just be me, but the amps buzz. Some amps buzz more than others. My Boss Katana buzzes more than the Yamaha does. Well, there you go. Yeah, there you go. It's a good tip, actually. iGoob. That's kind of what I was hinting at before, but you said it far better. No expert here, but buzzing may be reduced by making sure all the equipment is plugged into the same electrical breaker or circuit. Absolutely. So, yeah, one power board is what I've got all my amps going out of at the back, and then all my LEDs and stuff are plugged into a separate one. All the light that's behind the amps and that big one behind me, they're all plugged into a separate power board. So that kind of helps isolate everything. I've been using Pedal Train Volto 3 rechargeable battery for the past year and a half, and it's worked outstandingly. Yeah, they're good. They're really cool. A lot of those things are pretty noise-free on the most part. There's only one DC one that I've found that's really noisy, and that's the Harley Benton one, but it makes for a great phone charger. So it lets me charge my phone twice. It's just completely unusable as a pedal power supply. I don't know why. It's DC. It shouldn't be noisy, but it is. It's horrible. Justin Guitar, another Australian, does online lessons. Yeah, he's a great player. That guy. Is he Aussie? I thought he was. Well, maybe he is. To me, he sounds. I thought he was like maybe. I don't know. I haven't watched his videos in years, but I always thought he was from somewhere else. But maybe he's a Kiwi. Mate, check is in the mail, Fat. Thanks for that. Greetings from Sydney. Love your videos. Thanks. Is it Ding Alarm? 100 kilos is 220 pounds. There you go. Cool. Are we able to start gigging again? So we can kind of play live. There's people doing gigs, all that kind of stuff. But, you know, as they can... The problem here is, like, the government panics anytime anything happens. And then, like, you're restricted on how many people can go into a room without notice the next day. And to be honest, like, I can't really be bothered chasing gigs at the moment. I don't enjoy the process either. Like, if I get a call and they say, hey, do you want to do a gig here? I'll go, yes. But I don't actively chase it anymore. It's a lot of work. I prefer to almost just jam now because I can turn up with my gear and not have to do any of the legwork. Just have some fun. There's no expectations. And I get to play all the gear at gig volume. So for me, that's great. But yeah, there are people doing gigs, but it's not. There's still people that don't want to go out until the restrictions are pretty much gone, because yeah, it sucks having to wear masks if you're sitting at a bar. And then there's all these technicalities. Oh, if you've got a drink, you don't need to wear it. Then why even have it in there? Because everyone's just going to stand there with a drink. So yeah, it is what it is. There's the rules change weekly as well, so trying to keep up with it's a pain in the ass. What do I think of the classic vibe guitars? Paul, I've done plenty of reviews on those, mate. I think they're great. You know, I haven't tried the latest, like 2021s, as in the, not 2021, but the 2020s. So, yeah, but I think they're great. I bought one while I was in Florida many years ago now, probably 5 years ago, and it was just an absolute pleasure to play. It was great, the 50s one. They're heavy, though. The 60 Strat is still probably my go-to recommendation because it's light, it sounds great, the pickups are good, pots are good, looks great. Yeah, the tally's fine, but it's heavy. So you almost, you know, it's up to you whether you want to go that route. Roland Blues Cube versus Fender Blues Junior. Can you please make a video? I can do that. I think I did one on the Hot versus a Blues Junior years ago, but I was at a shop, so I'll have to see if I can get the stuff home and shoot some videos. By the way, I'm already working on new backing tracks. So I recorded like 15 new ones in November or December or both. I had lots of different tracks I was using and making as I was recording the videos. So I've started piecing together some new ones. So the last time round for some of them are coming up on these next few videos, and then you'll hear some new music coming up. Hey, Joe, thanks, man. Far out. Thanks for the info on the pedals. You're welcome, mate. Thank you. Thanks for the support. Not a problem. Yeah, if there's any other questions anyone has about gear, like, just feel free to let us know, or playing live, or whatever the case may be. Justin is Tasmanian. Okay, cool. He's living in the UK. I could detect that he didn't sound... He sounded either British or South African to me, or possibly New Zealand-ish. So obviously, you know, his accent may have changed over the years. It is what it is. I was listening to him, and he sounds Australian, and then I'm like, oh, no, maybe not. So, yeah, there you go. His channel is massive. So thanks again, Joe McCarthy. I appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Tasmania is a great place to go, by the way. It's really cool. I've been to Launceston a whole lot of times, and it's great. They've got great forests and beaches, and the towns are pretty small, but if you like that kind of thing, it's great. It's just cold, but it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Ben Chan says, just wondering, after my review on the 15mm lens, has your opinion changed, or would you still go for the 15? The 15 is what I'm using now. I love it. It just depends on how close you want to be to the camera. I can touch the lens, right? I couldn't do that on the 25. I'd be sitting about here. That's how much further it is back. The 25 will give you a little bit more blur in the background, but I use the 20. I've got 3 of those 25mm lenses. I love them. These are always, when I do my side shots of the guitar, I'm always using these a lot of the time. My main one's always this one because it gives me a bit more width. So yeah, they're both good. Just different tools for different jobs. Just depends on which one you like. The Leica one is a better lens overall. Anyway, better not talk too much about that. Oh. I like the yellow mixer, Shane. Are you using that right now? I'm using the A10 Mini still. I find when I'm doing a really simple setup like this, where I'm not switching cameras or anything, this just, the orientation of it on the desk is really good. The yellow box is fantastic. As a portable rig, it's unmatched. It's really good. Getting a few tech questions in here tonight. This is good. But yeah, the A10 Mini is just a real easy way of doing this, and I can also incorporate, like if I need to take a break for a moment, I can put a screen up, all that kind of stuff. I can do that with the other one, but I got it all sorted out on this computer. It's just been this way for a long time. Hope I had really great work on these videos. It's been helpful with the gear I bought. Keep it up, mate. If you could mention me, Paul in London. Welcome, Paul. Thanks, mate. I appreciate the kind words. Hope you're doing all right over there too. It's we got some outbreaks of the crazy flu from your side of the world, mate. I'm holding Paul responsible. Nah, I'm only kidding, mate. No, thanks for the kind words, mate. Cheers. Am I still using the overdrive pedal volume knob trick instead of an attenuator? You know, when I need to, absolutely. So when I do my videos, I'm using 2 Notes Captor X, which is on my desk. That thing is, and it is an attenuator. It's also, you can silence your amp altogether. But just for playing at home, it works really well. So yeah, there's plenty of ways you can get less volume and still get a great tone. Starts here first, and then it starts with it goes into the other stuff. It's all in your attack. If you play your guitar with conviction, you'll get a better sound. If you just clunk every note the same dynamic, it doesn't have the same impact. Yeah, that video was all about showing people that you can get great tones at low volumes. That's exactly what it was. And not everyone's in a situation where they've got attenuators or they even know what they are. So, yeah, I'm glad it helped. Any thoughts on the Squier Jazzmaster? The J, is it Messays? I don't know that one at all, Jim. Sorry, mate. If you had to buy a new USB audio interface now, what features would you be looking for? MIDI, number of channels in or out? So you've just got to ask the question to yourself, like, what are you going to be using it for? And that comes down to how, like, the only question you need to ask yourself really is, do you ever use MIDI? Yes or no? And if you don't, then you can go for pretty much anything dependent on how many microphones you need or things connected to it. So I've just got a 2-channel audio interface on my desk here. I would like to get one that has at least 4 coming up, because I need sometimes 4 for doing dual microphones on 2 amplifiers, for example. But it's up to you how many inputs you need. If you're going to be recording a band, get at least 8. And always get a couple more than you think you need, because long term, if you're always using 1 and 2, you know, if you keep the same interface for 5 years, one of them might start going a bit funky. You can always use the other one. So you'll have 2 there that will keep you going with it. So I always opt for, there's 2 things to look for if you can get it, right? A line in on, not just a microphone in, but they should also support a line in. There'll be this button on there that says high Z or high Z, which is great if you just want to, say, plug a bass guitar in and get a line level, an instrument level signal. And that will give you far more oomph to that recording. And if you can afford to get one that has a pad function, it's really worth it as well. A pad will drop the volume by whatever specified number that pad, usually it's like 15 or 20 dB, which means if you're cracking on a snare or you got your guitar amp cranked and you're using something like a condenser microphone, which if you've put too much volume into a condenser mic, it's going to spike and clip it and distort the diaphragm. This will help that whole thing work. It'll help you get a better sound at louder volumes, basically. It can still technically distort the diaphragm, but fact is that it'll go into your recording and you can drop the input volume, which is going to help drastically. So pads are always really handy if you're going to be doing any like really loud stuff like drums or really loud electric guitar. But for the stuff I do, you know, this Steinberg one's been fine. I'm probably going to update it pretty soon because one of the channels has kind of gone a little bit on it. And I'm looking at getting one of the new Tascam ones that has come out. There's a 4-channel one. It looks pretty much like the one that I need for what I do. And all I really need is 4 inputs. It's enough for this room. Dougal says, "G'day Shane, do you use a noise gate for single coils?" I don't use them ever when I'm playing live. I tried that at one really loud venue and it was so much easier for me just to play humbuckers. So, no, that's one of the things that I don't put in the signal chain. I'm lucky where I play now isn't like where I used to play, where there were trams and trains going past the venue and all that kind of stuff, and it was just unbearably, annoyingly buzzy. So, no. How long have we been going for here? Let me check the time. 10:45. All right, we're only at an hour. Jeez, man, it's gone quick. About 10 minutes or so left. If it's a tube amp, remember to check and add that ground wire to the frame of the amp. Oh, that might have been in relation to something else. I'm not too sure. Sonia says, "Thank you for the big thumbs up. Really helps. Please like and subscribe." Thank you, Sonia. Appreciate that. 126 likes. That would be awesome. We've got 134 people here tonight. Or this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. So welcome, everybody. Justin has been in the UK for a long time. Great to have a beer with. Yeah, I could hear that he had an accent, and I'm like he's Aussie, but he's not. It was hard. That explains exactly what's going on. Yeah, he seems like a pretty chilled guy, and he's got a lot of great little tricks and lessons out there. Nah, Victoria's good now, mate. I think we're going to try and keep people out. We went from the place no one wanted to go to one of the best places in the country. So, Dennis says, and Sonia loved the show. Unfortunately, got to get ready for work. Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for hanging out, man. Have a good day. Last non-music question, but you're looking fit as, dude. Has the knee... I think they're supposed to say, how is the knee going with your training? Good. I'm back. I feel great. You know, the whole thing, the lockdown didn't help. I should have walked more, and I didn't. But I ended up, towards the end of it, I started getting out a whole lot more and just walking around this big outdoor park, basically. And there was this really steep gradient that was brutal the first sort of 15 times I did it. And then it started getting easy. And then once I got on the leg extensions again, I realized, my knee feels pretty good. And I'm already lifting. I don't go for ego lifts. Like I said, I'm trying to get strong. It's good, thank you. Yeah, after the surgery and all that, it finally feels like it's as good as my right leg. So I don't run or anything like that. I don't want to ruin it again. But yeah, it's good. Thank you. I need a drink. Neil says, my GNL ASAT Tribute is the best Telecaster I've come across. I could have sold it to nearly everyone who plays it. Yeah, they're great guitars. They're really good. Yeah, I've never played the Tribute one in a lefty before, but I used to own one of their ASAT classics. Had the best neck. I shouldn't have sold it. You know, back when I first left my job, you know, I'd have expenses come in and I'd be like, oh no, now what do I do? It was like I got to get rid of something. And I sold it. And it was such a stupid move. I really wish I had kept that guitar. It was beautiful. I'm going to try my best to try and find something like that again on my next trip. We'll see how we go. Yeah. So the trip that got cancelled last year, if that happens at all this year, which it may not, but if it does, I'm going to branch it out even further now because of what happened last year. If travel, opens up at any point this year and I get to go, I'm going to do the plan I had and make it twice as epic and share that with folks, because I've got this idea for a series of videos that no one's done, and I'm looking forward to hopefully still doing it at some point. I think it'll be a great change of scene, intermixed with all the other stuff that I do. My opinion on Ibanez guitars. I like some of them, absolutely. I think their Art Core ones are really good, and their Prestige ones are really great. They're the two that I've had experience with. John says, did the Mount Dandenong Hotel remodel during lockdown? Nah, not at all. It's just gone into a different room. There's like three big rooms there. So they moved it out of the bar into this like middle section of the room. A middle section of the venue, I should say. And yeah, it's a better room because people who like to sit around at a bar can do that, and not get blasted at 130 decibels. And the people that want to eat can eat in the other room, and the people that want to rock can come into the jam room. I'm not sure when it's starting back up either. So we've had like, I think 2 weeks off, maybe 3. Shouldn't be too far away. What do I look for in a speaker cabinet to work with an amp you're liking? GuitarSpeakerGuide.com. There's one of the pinned posts is how to choose a guitar speaker and why. You've got to sort of find out what it is about that cabinet that you, or the amplifier that you like or dislike, and then sort of try to find something that suits it. You know, you can go the American speaker route, which is that big round sort of sound, or you know, the British tone's a little bit different. It's a little bit more bright in some ways and more of a mid thing than it is a low end thing. So you've got to try and find out the character of the amplifier if you haven't already worked that out. And pick it based on that, and then decide on how loud do you want it, you know, and all that kind of thing as well. So with Ibanez, you get what you pay for. Yeah, I really feel like the Ibanez Prestige was sold, man. That guitar was great. You know, I played it, and it was just a beautiful guitar to play. It really was. Krenner, thank you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. You up for the steps? Nah, it's like, for those who are local to Melbourne, it's like a Chapel Street thing. There's too many people. Not because of the COVID thing. I just don't want to be around a lot of people. And it's not fun exercising. But I'll take you to the park near my place, mate. It's heaps better. Ibanez Geos are okay guitars. My daughter has one, like a Squire. You know, I've seen one of those actually in a second-hand store here. They're pretty cool. I nearly bought one for like $100. They had one that needed all the pots replaced and stuff, and I thought, oh, I want to go through it. The deal breaker was the frets had already been pretty worn out, so I let it go. Hey, we got Landon Bailey here. Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Andy says, any experience selling on Reverb? None. Not interested. Yeah, I don't find that to be a very... Like, in Australia, no one uses it. And if they do, I just don't want to deal with another platform like that. So, no. I've got my own website I can move secondhand stuff on, or I've got eBay, which works really well. I don't use these services enough, but and Gumtree, which I sell big items that I might need to shift. And that's it. I don't use Reverb whatsoever. It all comes down to, like, are there people locally using it? Or are there more people still looking on eBay? I think eBay is destroying them here. Other parts of the world will be different, right? But, yeah, it's not something that's really ever done well here. Hey, Quentin, welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. What's my opinion on Rickenbackers? I like their basses. I've never played one of their guitars. I sent you an email. I got a Marshall JCM 900 instead of the Tone Master. Well, that's it. Anytime I get emails like, oh, what amp should I buy? I'm always like, go play them. You know, like, it's the best thing. Because what I like isn't necessarily what anyone else is going to like. So, if you're going to email me and ask me what amp you should buy or what pedal, go try them out if you have that luxury. If not, I always reply. what do we got here? I know you tested the Egnater Tweaker 40. What do I think of it? In hindsight now, the Tweaker is not very good. I wouldn't buy it. I think they're way... If you're talking about the... This is the thing with Egnater. They make good amplifier heads, and their cabinets are terrible. And the Egnater Tweaker has maybe the worst cabinet, in hindsight, I'd ever heard. It's the most boxy sounding amp ever. The one that I purchased, which was the Egnater Rebel 30, the head was fantastic, but the box was unusable in a live situation. It was the worst speaker box I ever owned. So I went back and I got a deluxe Reverb, and I had that for 5 years. So I'm not a big fan of their amp cabinets. I later heard one of their Rebel 30s through a Fender 2x12, and it sounded epic. So it's all in the speaker cabinet with those amps. Don't buy... If you're going to buy something of Egnater's, just buy the head. They do make some 212 amps that sound okay. They're a bigger open back cabinet, but nearly all of their cabs in that bottom out. I don't like them at all. Back when they came out, they were kind of cool, and then it'd be pretty low on my amp list right now. It's probably 10 years ago, I would say. Have we discussed the Mesa Boogie issue yet? Yeah, we did. Yeah, I'm like, it can't be good. Thoughts on the Joyo? Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that, mate. Says, thoughts on the Joyo JTA 05 speaker replacement. So they're 8-inch speakers, right? And the only... Hang on. Let me have a quick look at something. Joyo, I just want to make sure I give you the right info here. Joyo JT. I know I've tried this. I just can't remember how big the speaker is. Is it 10 or is it a 8-inch speaker? It's an 8-inch Celestion. You know, those speakers are pretty good. I don't know if you... I mean, if you need it to do something that it's not doing... Yeah, you don't have a lot of great options when it comes to 8-inch speakers. Like, Eminence do make a few, and odds are they'll be a bit louder than the Celestion one, but they put a good speaker in there. Mate, I almost think, like, it's probably not worth doing in an amp with an 8-inch speaker. That would be my honest opinion about it. I feel like you'd be better spending $100 on an amp that has a bigger cabinet already, like a 10-inch speaker amplifier. Put it towards something like that, because 8-inch will only really give you so much when it comes to like throw of sound. You'll get more bottom end, or it might remain cleaner longer. But yeah, I really like the Joyo amp. I thought it sounded pretty great. Like, yeah, I can't really give you like a one speaker. Yeah, that's... I'm not sure, man. I'm really not sure. It's probably the answer you didn't want, and I apologize. But yeah, that's not something that I can give you a definitive answer on, because there's plenty of great 10-inch speakers out there. But when it comes to 8, I haven't had enough experience with them. My only suggestion might be, see if you can find... You're basically going down a rabbit hole. You might get something new or different. It might not be better. So maybe see what Fender are putting in any of their 8-inch speaker amplifiers, or, you know, check out other brands and see if they've got something that's more efficient, maybe, if you want something louder. But it might require a bit of digging, and I haven't had a lot of experience with 8-inch speaker cabs. And I can't remember if there's an output on that you can send it to something else. Actually, I think, you know what? I would almost say just buy a 10-inch speaker or a 12-inch speaker and run it from the speaker out. I think there's a jack underneath the amp where the speaker connects. So maybe you could do that, mate. It's a tough question, mate. I apologize. I don't know the answer. But thanks for the support, mate. I feel terrible. I can't really assist you any more than that. But just double check. Flip the amp upside down. See if there's a jack underneath it. I test so much stuff. I can't remember if it's this amp or not. But if you flip it up the other way, you'll see if the speaker can be unattached, or, from the jack port. And then that means you can pretty much get any external cabinet that matches the same ohm rating of that speaker. But make sure it's never turned on without any load on the amp. Without the speaker being plugged in, basically. You got to make sure it's always plugged in. Hey, we've got Stefan here. Welcome, mate. All right, we're going to wrap this up in the next 2 minutes. Any experience with Cort Guitars? I have. I played some acoustics. I think they're really good. I think they're pretty comparable to some of our Australian-made guitars in some ways, just tonally and the way they feel, and they're far cheaper. I think they make a lot of good electric guitars as well. I got 2 or 3 friends that actually have that PRS-style electric. It's super cool. I just haven't played a lefty electric guitar of theirs before. Got Guitar 76 from Ontario. Welcome, mate. Oh, here we go. Is it Elaine? Says, by the way, bought the Texas Heat because of your opinion on the Fender Blues Junior. No regrets. Oh, awesome, mate. It's funny. I wrote an article about the 10 best speakers for a Blues Junior. And mid last year, Fender released limited edition Blues Juniors with nearly all of those speakers. I don't know if that was coincidence or not, but yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I'll take 2 more. What have we got? On the Joyo, is a speaker 4 or 8 ohms? You're just gonna have to look, mate. I can't remember. Just check the manual or flip the amplifier over and have a look at the speaker. It'll tell you on there. I can't remember. You just got to make sure you match the same ohmage. I want to swap the Fender Blues Junior speaker, but there are too many conflicting recommendations. You just got to listen to stuff, find out what it is about it you don't like, and then, and then trust your ear, because it comes down to what you're looking for out of the amp, and there's so many clear recommendations on what will give you what by changing the speaker and what it won't do. But you got to know what you're looking for first, otherwise you're wasting your money. That's why I set up that site. I've tried so many speaker cabs with so many amplifiers and replaced speakers. My friend Brian's got he must have had 40 speakers, or not that many, but he had so many speakers in his cave one time under his house in this tone cave that it was as tall as I was. He just had speakers everywhere. So we got a chance to A/B so much stuff. And just being able to hear all the different amplifiers over the years with different speakers, it gives me a good sense of what I know works tonally with different amps. Texas Heat and the PV Bandit rips. Absolutely, mate. Best speaker upgrade for that amp of all time. It is awesome. Looking at getting the Epiphone Gold top after your latest video. Looks awesome. Andy, it is, mate. It is really good. It's more expensive than I think some of the other Epiphones on the market, but I think it's worth it. If I was going to buy one, it would be that one. Not to be a spoiler alert, I think the 60s one's good, but the 50s one was better. It felt like it was a great guitar. At least in my hands, anyway. It's all sort of subjective to what you like. Oh, we're not at 100 likes. Man, that's it. I'm out of here. 74, 84. Oh, we're almost there. Thanks for all the support, folks. I appreciate it. Hey, Ben, how are you, man? Past my bedtime. Yeah, I'm getting old, mate. I'm about to get out of here. Bent Pipe. Thanks, man. Any experience with the Acclam Pedalboards? Watching from... is it... I don't know how to say that. Is it Annapolis? Is that how you say that? I do. Give me a sec. So this is the little one I've been sort of piecing together. This is their small board. I actually did a review. I'm pretty sure I did a review of this maybe with something else. Like, I can't remember if they sent a power supply out or something, but I don't remember. But I never really ended up using this board for two reasons. One, it is actually really cool, and you don't need Velcro. You just use these little things that sort of wedge it together. But I don't have a case for it, so I don't take it anywhere. So without a case, it's almost sort of useless for me. I just use it at home. But this board is going to kick some serious ass. I'm going to actually get a board that has a bag, or I'll see if I can get a bag for this one. I want to get one more pedal on here, so it's one too short for me, this. But yeah, they're pretty cool, and it's nothing too elaborate, no room for a power supply or anything like that, but they probably make far larger boards than this one, but that's the only one I've tried. I think they're really good. I forgot about that brand. Like, I couldn't remember. I'm like, Acclam, I've done something with them, and that's that one. I've had it for years. Must be, man, I don't know. Must be close to 3 years. Oh, we hit 100 likes. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. We cracked the 100. If we get 100 dislikes, I'll keep going. No, no, I don't do that. Have I checked out the Squire Paranormal Thinline Cabernet? I haven't, mate. I haven't seen or heard of that one either yet. I need to check into that one. After a replacement bridge from a Gibson, Les Paul, are they all the same size? They are if you've got a Gibson. Yes, if you've got a made in Japan one or something like that, the post diameter is different. So you need to get what they call an import one, which will be I think it's 5mm smaller. So if it's a Gibson, it's an easy replacement. You'll be good. You can also measure the whole diameter just with a good ruler. But if you search for Gibson replacement part, it'll give you the exact size. What do I think? What do I make of the Marshall Governor? It's great. It's really cool. All right, last question. We'll take it out with this one. So Gunraw says, my 3 favorite blues artists. I would say Chris Kane. He's my favorite right now. He's awesome. Like, if I had to pick all time or current, it's 2 different lists, but I'm going to go with the ones that are on my wall for easy reference. I love Albert King. Still one of my favorites all time. And, man, who do I put in third position? I love Eric Clapton's blues. Still. I think it's great. So, yeah, out of all the people I've pinched stuff off, Eric would be one of the ones that I've stolen a lot off over the years. His phrasing back in the 90s and his tone and all that kind of stuff was unparalleled. It's great. And his vocal too. He's the package. All right, that is it. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I appreciate it. If I missed your question, I apologize. I'll try and timestamp this as soon as I can, so people will watch the replay, otherwise no one watches it. I don't blame them, because the timestamps, they take me ages, but it's worth doing. It just makes everybody's life better. So stay tuned. The next video coming up, I think, is the Epiphone SG, followed by a guitar rundown video, which will be up on the weekend. There's only a couple of videos. And then I've got the 60s Epiphone Les Paul. I think that's it. There might be one other one in there, but that's about it. I got a few other things I need to do on the channel as well, but I'm taking some time off from shooting videos after last month, so that's about it. All right, rock on, and I will catch everybody on the next live stream. I'll schedule up again ahead of time, so you get some heads up on it. I'd like to try to do it the same day every week. It doesn't always work for me doing that, so yeah, it is what it is. We keep them spontaneous. All right, guys, rock on. Take care. Thanks again. We'll catch you soon. See ya. Oh, and thanks, Sonia, for all the help And John too, thank you.